Hello and welcome to the second episode of Psychotronic Review. I am Still Evil Steve, and thanks for watching. To start things off, I Drink Your Blood, 1971. The premise, loosely, is a bunch of satanic hippies that camp out in a town, much to the chagrin of its inhabitants. They're not getting along, to put it lightly, and one of the inhabitants' residents, a young boy, finds a dead dog side of the road, takes a syringe and sucks out the rabies-infested blood within it and injects it back into some meat pies that the hippies ingest. And then hilarity ensues. Two of the male members of the hippie tribe become rabid, psychopathic, violent, zombie-like goons, and they start attacking inhabitants of the town. The cops come into the picture. You get the idea. Love this film. Very entertaining from beginning to end. Nice washed-out 70s color. The acting is adequate. The violence is amazing. The effects are pretty good for this low-budget type film. I really like this. This is something you'd want to play at a Halloween party or a costume affair, you know, something like that. Great fun. Highly recommended. I Drink Your Blood. Next is EGGSHELLS. This was released in 1969, so there's a lot of hippie shit going on here in this film. It's interesting because even though the film seems like a drama in a sense because of what they're talking about, moving from home to another one, a wedding, there's also a subplot, if you can call it, about a man was apparently seeing something in the basement of the house where the protagonists live, and it appears to be a portal of some sort. And this man interacts with it, and I assume this happens after taking a sufficient hit of lysergic acid, if you know what I mean, and starts tripping. There's a lot of symbolism in this film, especially with the plexiglass dome that appears now and then, or maybe it was just a cheap prop used for the movie, who knows. All I know is I was fascinated by both the dialogue between the protagonists and the going back and forth of the subplot concerning the acid trip guy, especially the scene where he's in the park and he sees a lovely lady that he's interested in. Some of the events in the film, like the blowing up of one of the protagonist's cars, confusing, but maybe it's a commentary on materialism. I have no idea. I was actually sad about it because that's where these protagonists bonded, by riding in the car together, and what I assume is they were creating memories about riding in the car together. So that kind of confused me. I was interested in the characters' lives, although I honestly have no idea if they were just acting or improvising, or they were really filming actual conversations, which is really how the movie's conveyed, especially when they're sitting in a bathtub, as they actually happened in their lives. Well, either way, I was very entertained. I still have no idea what the ending was about. It was a real head-scratcher, but even though I totally don't understand that, I still enjoyed it. Very trippy. But some psychotronic films are like that. You can still enjoy them even though you don't really know what the hell's going on sometimes. I like this movie. Oh yeah, a bit of trivia about this film. The director is none other than Tobias Hooper, director of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. That's right. This is Tobe Hooper's first budgeted film that had a release, and the co-writer of Texas Chainsaw Massacre is in the film himself as a writer. Go figure. Death Ship, 1980. I actually saw this movie in the theater when it came out, so since I was 9 years old at the time, I was practically closing my eyes throughout the whole film. However, upon viewing it again recently, I have to say I really enjoy this movie. The plot loosely is a haunted Nazi ship that floats around in the ocean all by itself, possessed by Nazi sailor spirits guiding it, and it crashes into an inhabited ship, and the survivors end up boarding the Nazi ship that wrecked them in the first place. So it's pretty much playing out like a haunted ship movie instead of a haunted house movie, but there's definitely some slasher film type elements here. Maybe not in effects or visuals, but more so into the feel, because like other slasher movies, the inhabitants of the ships are being done in by the spirits one by one. George Kennedy is absolutely perfect as a possessed sea captain who dons on Nazi regalia and obeys the poltergeist's commands with great success. He convincingly comes across as a truly deranged wacko. He's fantastic. Nick Mancuso's acting is amazing, especially in the scene towards the end where he's fallen prey to one of the ship's traps, or even before that while he's possessed. It is priceless. His portrayal as a manic possessed person is absolutely amazing and creepy as shit. This is good stuff here, folks. I recommend this. Deep Throat, 1972. Deep Throat, believe it or not, is actually my favorite film of all time, psychotronic or not. I can't really say why, because Linda Lovelace is not the most beautiful woman on earth by any means, nor is she a master thespian, but she's got great charisma. And although it may seem irrelevant, I really love her voice in this film. Her vocal tone, her diction, her accent, for some reason is very attractive to me. I really like it. Honestly, I think Dolly Sharp, whose real name was actually Helen Wood, by the way. She was a former dancer on Broadway and was even in an MGM movie. Who plays Linda's friend, Helen, is pretty hot and intriguing. Yeah, her face looks old, or at least older than Linda's, but I thought she had a fantastic body. I think she was great and lended some credibility to the movie with its otherwise awful acting. Harry Reams is ridiculous as Linda's doctor, working inside what has to be the world's worst looking medical clinic ever featured on film. It looks more like they filmed it in a den at somebody's house. Carol Cummings' brief appearance as Harry Reams' eye-rolling head nurse who knows better is absolutely phenomenal. I love her natural, down-to-earth appearance here in this film, as opposed to her other films like The Erotic Ventures of Candy or Candy Goes to Hollywood, where she looks more made-up and superficial. The music in this film is dated but hilarious. It sounds like the typical 70s wannabe, goofy, classic-sounding era music, like something from Minsky's Follies mixed in with hippie rock. The sound is pretty horrible, but it gives it more of that unique charm that this film has. To be honest, I don't know why this is my absolute all-time favorite film, other than the fact that some of the scenes were filmed in South Florida, like Coconut Grove and Miami Beach, where I partially grew up. The film is truly unique, and I've never seen anything like it or since, with its continuous use of that bubbling sound effect, the bad acting, the cheesy music, and overall campiness. There's just something about this film I just can't put my finger on. Regardless, it's my all-time favorite, and as cheesy as this sounds, it really does hold a special cinematic place in my heart. I highly, highly recommend this film. Death Machines, 1976. This is a good, schlocky one that features no-name actors, but there's plenty of hokey martial arts scenes that reflect the kung fu craziness of the mid-70s that I even fell for as a kid. I actually saw the newspaper ad for this movie in the local paper when I was 5 years old, but I assumed because of the graphic that it was a horror movie, but this is definitely an exploitation piece. The lady boss is hilarious with her painted-on eyebrows and goofy hairdo. Her hair looks antique, out of place, so it adds charm. Even her dubbed voice is equally as hysterical. I like this, and I especially love the cynical, bummer, downer ending of the movie. It's kind of a shock. Definitely worth watching. Cleopatra Jones, 1973. I really like this film. While watching this, I felt the same feeling I got when I saw Black Belt Jones. It was a joy to watch, and at the same time, there were moments of what the hell is going on? Tamara Dobson is beautiful as the lovely secret agent, and Bernie Casey is good as the manly and mature love interest of hers. He doesn't take any shit from anybody. I like that. The pacing is really good in this film. The fight scenes are pretty realistic for blaxploitation. The music is great, and this is an all-around joy to watch, like I said. Shelley Winters is perfect as the lesbian, overbearing, and violent boss known as Mommy. I haven't seen the sequel yet, but hopefully it will be as good as this one. I recommend it. And lastly, Lady Battle Cop from 1990. I want to give a shout out to Patrick Ranieri of Hellwitch for hooking me up with this, or hooking me with the ability to get this film, let's put it that way, from an undisclosed source that I'm not going to mention because only secret video nerds like ourselves have access to this source. But anyway, it's a great film. It's got that schlocky Japanese cinema quality to it. Obviously, it's a ripoff of RoboCop, same plot setup. The woman got done in by violent thugs, and she's resuited as a battle cop, or Japanese RoboCop, and gets her revenge, so it's pretty much a revenge flick. Pre-CGI special effects, great appliances for the blood. I love the sound effects. They remind me a lot of anime productions. They probably lifted them from such productions. Cheesy violence. I just love this film. It's very entertaining. I recommend this for a party, to be put on with no sound. Great all-around fun. Lady Battle Cop. So that takes care of the second episode of Psychotronic Review. I want to give a shout out again to Patrick Ranieri, to Matt Heinrichs, Perverted Minion, Buddha, Alex Hansen, all the dudes that I converse with online. I want to thank you guys, and until next time, keep it psychotronic.